Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm clicking record.
Okay, click record. Ready?
Good to go.
Welcome to the meeting. We're glad you're here, and this will be opening of the meeting. And to start off with, I'll review and approve August 30th, 2024 minutes. Any corrections, deletions, or additions to the minutes? Anyone needs to make a comment on? If not,
Make a motion, we approve those minutes.
all right, so moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll approve the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Business, review and approve bills paid since last approval. That would be you, Dave, right? Oh, man, didn't want you to click it.
This is the list that you're familiar with, of checks that have been written since our last meeting. The first half of that list was approved at our last meeting, and the checks were written subsequently. The bottom half of need your approval. One thing that's kind of unusual is this $1,098 for Rocky Mountain Power. That's for pumping. Apparently we've been doing a lot of pumping out there.
Yeah.
Usually it's only around 200 or 300, but
I don't know exactly what the issue is there, but we've had a lot of electrical stuff we've been doing at the pump houses, put in a new transformer and things like that, and maybe that's affected some of that.
yeah.
So,
It's good shape now.
yeah, it should be. Everything's working properly right now.
You got the sensor in?
Yes. Tank alarm?
The tank alarm, yeah, totally before the meeting. Promise not to. That works.
Now you're getting ahead of
So now we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, as long as we never have to hear it go off.
Okay.
One check on there for $167,000.01. That's the first payment on the $4 million loan.
Okay.
We only got 29 left.
Well, somebody else will have to make that one someday.
Any questions or comments on any of that information?
Looks like Richard's question.
How many people didn't make their payment?
What payment?
Well, they're against that, not that, but against the loan.
That's
There was
a
two in
different
July.
loan. They're probably talking about the other loan that we have for the special assessment.
Right, that's not the special assessment though.
No, it's not the special.
Federal didn't pay it.
We pay this off with fees.
Okay.
We have quite a few that haven't paid, don't we? On the special assessment?
Maybe they will give us a report sometime.
Okay. Any questions?
That payment, the 167,000, the payment is made from money that we've collected as a water improvement assessment. And let's see. That's the money that the owners pay. It's $115. It's $115 a quarter. And we've staked that up over the years that we've been doing it, and that's where that money comes from to pay that. The other assessment that you're talking about, the payment on that loan, I think, comes due in October of 2025, and there's about 34 or 5 who have not paid that assessment yet, out of 62.
Any moves to shake that money loose?
Yeah, we're gonna get started sometime. It's been trickling in, so.
Yeah, I just got one the other day.
A lot of people are looking at acting like, well, we want to see the improvement, but
either done or really close to done by the time it gets snowed out this year.
Are they down in the hole?
If
So
they
they're
spell
gone
it-
up in the Grizzly Ridge?
What?
We'd have to be based on what we've already paid out.
Yeah.
I think they've got 2,000 more feet of pipe to put in and 5 more fire hydrants. And then I
Do
think
they have two holes up there?
Mhm.
Oh, they do. That one just sitting over by the Hamlin house.
That would have blown motor.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, they blew the motor up, putting in that pipeline over there, so they brought up another one.
We have to good jack out rocks.
Yeah, right now they're not too bad digging, but they're just turning the corner right toward it's gonna get bad.
That lower part down there, remember that turn is.
Okay, go down to the next page, Brandon. Currently, we have for accounts payable, 11,000 to John Deere, that's for the backhoe lease. It's not due until October, the end of October. And then we've got this $1,100 for Mountain Supply, that's just parts for.
I think that one was all just from that one leak the other day we had.
One coming outside ago. Better to find that now than in the winter.
They had to wait till it snowed that first day for it to break.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Where it comes off of the highway, goes in front of, Wooded Ridge's entrance and goes down into the village.
Yeah.
Right there.
That one that broke last year?
It broke farther down last year, it broke up closer to the valve this year.
I think the credit's better given then. Yeah, too. Okay.
In the middle of the page, you can see the amounts we have in various accounts. With the public treasurer's investment fund mainly. And, on that bottom one, special assessment area fund, that's what we've collected on that special assessment so far, just a little under 180,000.
Go away, see the peak.
Then down below, you can see the accounts payable, the total accounts payable at this point. Receivable, excuse me. 50,000. And we're sending out quarterly statements next week. Any comments or questions on any of that?
I'll move to approve.
Did the county approve the amount that you printed on taxes?
Yes.
So
I'll move to approve these financials as Dave has presented them.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. Grant update, we're still waiting for senators, as far as I know. For the grant for the. Yeah, I haven't talked to Ken, he was supposed to get Romney, I don't know what we're gonna do, but it doesn't fund till next December, but I know we need to get something in there pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't, is Curtis available still?
Oh, yeah,
You talk to him too, again?
yeah, what they said is that one senator to the other senator can't necessarily, but they went through some other offices to send them something. Because I guess you can, something political, but you can't, because they're, once he becomes the, yeah, 'cause
Not the sponsor, but the senator,
they're both on the, until he becomes, what's his name?
re-elected.
Yeah, but right now they're on the same thing, so they can't quite interfere, so they have another Adriel or something, in a different office too.
Did they? They said they did?
Yeah, that's what they said, they did some stuff to us.
You follow up on that?
She asked Malloy, or does she not know anymore?
I don't know. She was very chin with her, so. Yes. It's probably a pretty good time to do it, she's probably settled in now.
She's probably still in now, yeah. I was wondering about that.
Okay.
But yeah, John Curtis' office, they had to do something on that for resources.
Does anybody actually talk to them to see if they got a commitment for maybe after the election? 'Cause that's probably what's
Well, what
stalling.
happened is when asked for those letters, it was right when they were having those conventions and everybody was attacking every candidate from the Republican Party at the time. It was like, it wasn't the time to be like, hey, can you send a letter? Evan Vickers sent a really good one.
Did he? Okay. Will you follow up with that and get with me?
Yeah, I guess part of it, they're just wondering what,
Yeah.
again, what.
Well, here's the thing, they take a whole, my understanding is they take a whole bunch of things and they put it before the group and they approve this, and that sort of thing. And we're on that list of being approved, but where it goes from there, I don't know.
Do we have a number or a name or?
Yeah, I have Colton and what's his name, Brian Thury out down at Pike County. I'll give them a call, tomorrow or Monday for sure, because they owed me an answer for about 2 weeks.
Would they come down to the next meeting and just address us with what?
From Pike County?
Yeah, our consultants.
Yeah, they would.
Then everyone can hear it.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Seems
My
like
problem
they are
when I
the
ask
ones
for
who should
letters
be
is I
asking
have
us,
to
what do
get
we,
some
is there anything we
idea
can do,
like
there
the
may or may
key
not be.
number.
Yeah, well, and they know all the options, they do it all the time. I'll call them and see if Peter Cody.
Or send us an email, because
Explain
here's
what
what
that-
you as a board.
I think they would come, I really do. You know, too. Should've done it about a month ago when it was hot.
Well, the other thing is Congress just passed a spending bill a day or two ago
Yeah.
for the coming years, for the coming 90 days or whatever we do.
Right.
So this one wasn't supposed to fund until
Next December. We don't care when it comes, let's get it.
Well, we just want, as a board member, I wanna make sure there's nothing that we could be doing to
Yeah.
facilitate more, you know, if we're just in the hands of government, then that's one thing, but let's be sure that we've exercised.
Well, if we get Thury out and those guys, they can tell us where it's at and what's being done, or not done.
Right.
Well, where it's at is, you know, he talks with Celeste's office all the time, and, you know, she's for it, and she's pushing, but right now, it's, you know, it's in the senator's hands. And that's where, any time I talk to anybody on the mountain, I ask, or anywhere in Utah, do you know these guys, you got any ins with them?
So John Curtis, we actually, we're meeting him, he's the one that I think he'll take, I hope he takes Romney's spot. And he would, once he gets that, he will be on a different level, does that make sense? So he's supported on the level he's at
Well,
right
you
now,
know,
but he's definitely supported it.
Rodney could actually do it before,
If we
Ken
could,
didn't do it.
yeah, if someone has access to Romney.
Ken Barney, he does all of his plumbing work, he knows him like his dad.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
I think all of them.
I'll talk to him too, I'll give him a call today. Again. His mother passed away not too long ago, so rough road for a few months. Okay. Project update.
So, touchers shouldn't be too long before they're done with that spraying now. Had a lot of stalls along the way, I'm getting parts and finding the water where it is in there. Now we're in the final end of tying it up.
Triple check.
The triple chair, yeah.
Okay.
And then they've got a few more things that they need to do across the mountain to touch up everything they got, including that pipeline through Pinnacle Club and up the top of the hill. And they've got a collection tank they were supposed to put in over at Puffer. They're a little behind on their schedule.
When you say collection, is it just a vault or?
Yeah, so currently we have that metal tank that's underground.
Yeah.
And with no way to access to get inside of it, it docks us points on our survey every 3 years, and so it was in the plan to put a new one in so that it can get knocked off that survey. And so they need to go do that, they got all the parts for that, they just need to do it, but they wanna finish up that spring first, and then probably head over and finish the pipe work over by our shop and up the top of the hill, which will mean they'll probably get to that next year. But they are coming up close to ending, or hitting the end of their contracted times. And the engineers pushed the point pretty hard in our last meeting that they need to step up.
I stopped in Sunrise yesterday, talked about that, talked to those guys about that.
And then the other project down over on Grizzly Ridge, they've got the pipe put in down, I can't think of the name of the road now. Well, they've got the Sunset and the other road done, they've got the 2 offshoot lines they're gonna do done, got all those fire hydrants put in. Now they're working down the bottom of the holler, and they've got roughly 2,000 feet of pipe to put in and 5 or 6 fire hydrants, and their project should be done. But they are in really rough digging areas, so might be done this year, might not be. But if everything goes good, they should be done this year, but weather and rot is gonna determine that. Yeah, we're gonna pressure test the lines that they did put in, and once they come back clear, they have an allotment of money in their contract to purchase road base, and we're gonna go top those roads that they've tore up and made pretty rough. But nobody wants to do it before we pressure test, because if they do have a leak, we're just gonna have to dig it back up.
That reminds me, we still haven't done any of the rehab from last year's main line now. We talked about doing rehab. Now would be ideal to do the rehab, just on that line that we aren't working on anymore. Like the grass spray.
Oh, yeah, I've completely spaced that. You wanna get with me after all this?
Or just put it on Nate, I mean, it's part of the project, it should just be,
Yeah,
you know.
I'll talk to them, and
Just call a guy and
make
do
sure
it,
it all gets.
yeah. It's still there because of that.
What about the tank? Tell them about the tank.
Oh, tank passed, or we got the operating permit from the state, and then the operating permit from the engineers. We got the tank alarm installed, and we're gonna pull a bacteria test on the new tank on Tuesday, I do believe. Take it to Cedar, and as soon as it comes back, if it comes back clean, we'll turn the tank on, we'll be using it. If it comes back dirty, we just gotta drain it, clean it, fill it back up, and then turn it on and use it.
You have to drain it?
If it comes back dirty.
That's what I thought.
Does it have like a spigot, or do you have to go in and dip or something, like how do you?
We have to go down and dip it.
Okay.
No, yeah, we did full back T-test off the triple chair springs that we have developed. They're not in the pumps or anything yet, but they both came back clean too.
Good.
We're okay for a lot of it.
Took a lot of.
Well, that's the new spring, that's not connected yet, but that'll be
It
big.
took a lot of
especially
leaching to
winter.
get to it, didn't it, you know?
Three different spots.
Yeah.
Other than that, on
Didn't
the,
you say that triple spray's gonna be about 30 gallons a minute? You hope?
I'm hoping between 30 and 50, and it's gonna depend on the time of year. Like right now, everything's slowed way down, so it's hard to get a good read on what it would be. But, I mean, in the springtime, it might flow more than the pumps can push, and in the wintertime, it might barely give us some. And that just, we don't know.
We're not putting hardly anything down the overflow upper anymore, are we?
We just adjusted the pumps again 2 days ago, just to make sure that pumps aren't turned on unless it's needed. So when they're not, when the tanks are full, pumps shut off and just run down the hill to buffer.
But we're pumping more water than we were before.
Yes, a lot more.
With the 2 lines and the 2.
Yep, we can,
Not the one that-
we were pushing like 42 when I first started, and then we upgraded one thing, we got to like 55, and now we're doing 120. If we have the water, we can push 120,
Good,
so.
really good. And if you can get 50 out of the other one, that's.
Yeah.
And Ron said we have the approval of Forest Service to start talking about improving that one.
Yep.
I took that, I went horseback riding
Did you?
yesterday up that
Oh,
road. In order to get a hoe up there,
It's not an easy ordeal.
we're gonna have to get approval to do some work with
Yeah.
that hoe on the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's not major, but
No, you're
you're
gonna
gonna have to have a hoe to redevelop the spring anyway, and then we'll have to redevelop the road on the way out, so I don't know what kind of process is involved in getting their approval, but
we'll have to go down their old road and knock down all the stuff they used to block it and put in a culvert across that one creek there.
and then there's some trees that are, like, there's one where the hoe is gonna have to, I was just there, there's like one big tree was knocked down, so
Mhm.
the hoe around a little turn.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a project. just to get everything
No,
started.
there was one moment, I almost, for the first time, went over the horse pool, we were trying to cross the stream, and I just didn't lean back, and thank goodness for the stirrup.
Remember me to tell you a story when I was in a race one time, the horse stopped. Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and it's all good. And I think that if we can get this thing culminated the end of this year, and then maybe trickle a little into first of next spring for down in the hollow, you know, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, Rollins started a little later this year, and they have the working days to go into next year. And Tusher's has a few, because we have extended their working days on a few issues, like doing that collection down below Puffer, and a couple other things have added some of their working days. So they could go into next year a little bit, but I was just letting everyone know that we are getting close to the end of the contract date on those, so.
And most all of it will be done.
Yeah, I think come next spring, we'll be just touching up a few things and being done with it.
Okay.
Dee,
Yes, sir?
are you aware that, Sunrise Engineering added $50,000
Yes.
to their contract?
Yes.
What
I talked
for?
about a week ago. Yeah.
Like just more observation.
It's observation fees.
Yeah, yeah, they had to be there a little bit more, you know,
Yeah,
just what they can.
right. It's like architects and engineers, when you ask them how much is the price, they say, how big is the project? That's literally their first question.
Yeah.
So like, what does that tell you?
Yeah, Devin called me, I meant to call you, he called me about a week ago, said they need to do something, you approve it, I'll say, yeah, so I'll get paid, but did he tell you he talked to me about it?
I saw the email that went to you.
Yeah, that's all, okay, good. I know that'll be done with that, won't we? After we do that, we're done with that commitment?
Oh, well, that's the project.
Yeah, I meant that commitment.
It would be nice to see exactly where we stand in terms of how much was approved and funded, how much we've spent, because there was that time last year where we abandoned some parts of the project. And so I don't know if that was completely saved or if it was reallocated to other things, but I think, you know, as a board member, I'd like to see where we are on that, you know, maybe by the next meeting, some analysis.
Yeah, I'll talk to the engineers too and see if they can get with Dave and put together.
Yeah, I mean, for
something like that.
another $50,000, they should be able to at least give us a summary of where we're
Yeah.
at.
Maybe they could come present it to the next meeting,
It'd be good, you know, I think for everyone's time to ask questions.
Basically, what work's been done and what we paid for, just.
And what's left.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then have them come and present that.
yeah, I think that's good.
Wouldn't they show up in their billings?
I don't know. Alex,
Because you gotta pay them against something.
we can ask them, but
Yeah, we have
you know,
everything
even if
else.
we just got like a document from them that says where we're at, we don't really need, you know, if they're gonna charge us to
Well,
attend.
that was presented at our last meeting, Shane, if you still have those, if you still have that email that I sent out prior to the meeting.
I saw that, like, what percentage, but it doesn't talk about like the project itself and like what, you know, what we didn't do versus what we do. It just says total project,
And I
how much
think-
was spent.
I think that has to be
Hey, guys,
reviewed by these guys.
Dave, question.
Yeah.
I mean, Sunrise has to include, updating the board in part of their overall fee structure. Like, they can't charge us extra for showing up to the meeting and giving us a regular update, even if it's, I mean, it's like once a year, right? So I think that's a really good idea. They need to come and update us at the end of every quarter, and they can't charge us extra.
Paul, they have a construction meeting with the engineer every single month.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. So they're doing the
Right,
project.
the board would be great.
We'll have to, yeah, it's no big
We'll get an update one way or another.
Or if we could get some of you board members to come to one of these construction meetings, we meet with both companies at the same day.
every time.
And then
Are they up on the mountain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the firehouse, every 2 weeks.
And then that way, we can answer questions on both projects and ask the engineers the questions.
I think at least.
And is Devin out there or is it Kevin?
Kevin's there and Tyler usually,
Tyler.
but I think if they knew that he was gonna show up or something, they'd probably bring Devin too, because I think he is the actual project manager.
Yeah.
So,
But that thing that you were talking about, David, that's how I figured out where our percentage was based on what you would put on there. You know, you don't put the percentage, but you take the loan amount versus what we paid out. There's your number.
well, and a lot of that's real hard, because there's big project items, like the tank was a huge chunk of money.
Right.
And so it looks like a huge percentage of the project was done when it was just a singular thing, and that's kind of what I think everyone's wanting to see.
yeah. Yeah,
because-
Just an itemized.
Mhm.
Well, he did break them down into groups, and that's
Okay.
where I was looking at, well, here's the tank project, here's the line project.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of was pulling, what I assumed was, you know, a percentage of completion.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
expect that I'll be getting a pay request any day, since it's the end of the month. They can send those out at the end of each month. And their pay request will show at least the dollars that have been spent.
Okay. Okay, overview of operations.
Water system status, right now, we have we went and chased all the little leaks we could on the mountain, we fixed that one big leak, and right now we're at a total systemic loss of 16 gallons a minute, which is better than any other water system I've talked to. So we're doing pretty good on leaks right now. And the tanks are full, pumps are running, everything on our water system is working good right now. So, we'll see how this winter goes, getting that tank turned on is gonna be a big.
Tell them a little bit about the SCADA situation.
So SCADA's supposed to be done this year, that's part of one of those projects, and that, it sends you all the information, what your pumps are doing, what tank levels you're at. If you start losing water faster than normal, it sends me an alert, things like that, and all that's supposed to be installed this year. If that gets done, then that will help a ton, because even before it gets to that tank alarm, I'll get a message saying, hey, instead of using X amount of gallons and minute, you're using 3 times that, and I'll be able to.
Monitor 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Or if something happens at the pump house and power gets knocked out, it sends me an alert for that, all that kind of stuff is in the SCADA system.
How many other people get that alert? Just you?
It only goes to one person, I think you have to have a SCADA account and be logged into that to get in and get all that.
Would you wanna have Brady as your backup, just in case?
Oh yeah, I'll make sure he can log into it too.
The triple backup is the alarm that now should work and go off.
Yeah.
But just to put some significance to what we're, once the triple chair spring and the storage tank are released into the system, we effectively almost double our capacity for storage and our source of water.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter, where we struggle by only having the one source of water. So that, and once these are implemented, it's a huge step forward for the water system.
And then, so yeah, I think that's all I got on the water system. The flow measurements, like we said, 120 gallons a minute is what we can push out of pumper. It's gonna be hard to get accurate flow measurements on the springs once we get these VFDs live, because they will operate at whatever the spring is putting out instead of what they can maximum. So if the spring's putting out 30 gallons a minute, it'll pump continuously at 30 gallons a minute instead of surging the pumps on and off. And if they're putting out 120, it'll pump 120 gallons a minute. And so I'll try to keep those as good as I can on these meetings, but it'll be kinda hard to give an accurate reading.
When you get an accurate reading, you have a way to print it out?
Currently, no. I don't know if that's something that comes with the SCADA, but I do believe it shows flow rates on SCADA, and I'll probably be able to pull that up too, but we'll see how that is.
That'd be nice.
And all that.
It has to be able to do it.
Yeah. And then, update on roads.
On the Puffer Lake Springs, they haven't developed that yet as part of the project, right?
No, have you got the easements for that from the county?
Well, the county owns the property now, so.
So we're good?
We already have the easement for the upper part,
Mm-hmm.
but we were wanting to do the bottom part, so I think we probably can do that. If you want to, because the county owns the property now, so.
So what I talked to them about was, I wanna go in and dig an exploratory trench down there where we're planning on doing that collection at, and just see if that produces enough water to justify the cost of putting in a collection there.
Because they only have to put the collection, but then it's going uphill, so they
Yeah, they
have
have
to
to-
put in a pump.
They have to put in another manhole and a pump to pump it up.
The cost benefit thing on that is.
If it's putting out a ton of water, I think.
Pump's only like a few grand, pump's not much.
Yeah, it's a small pump, it's only a 1-inch pump, it's not a big one.
Definitely, that's not a
But-
meter threshold issue.
No, but if it's only putting out 5 or 6 gallons a minute, it's not worth spending $100 grand on building a collection. But if it's putting out some good water, then I think we collect everything we can for sure. So that's why I want them to dig an exploratory trench there first and see if that thing's even producing enough water to make it worth
So
the money.
is the pipe from Puffer Lake to the tank, is that all
That's done.
in place? What inch size is that?
6
So it's 6 inch all the way down, or
from the
used to
pumps
have,
to the tank. Yeah.
used to have some 4-inch spots,
Mhm.
so that would make
2
that.
inch.
We had 2-inch, 3-inch, and 4-inch going there before, and now we're all 6.
Somebody was using a cocktail straw.
Okay, so
The
that's
pressure
good.
is no longer.
So yeah, that stuff's all a lot better now, and I'm not nearly as worried about it. Update on the roads, like we just talked about, a lot of those roads coming up off the highway are supposed to get fixed once we do this pressure testing, and Rollins is gonna put some road base on there and spread them back out and make them nicer again. And the other roads, we've worked on quite a few down in the bottom of the holler to make that creek crossing a lot smoother. We took like 20 loads of fill dirt down there and kind of built the road up a little bit and widened it down and through. We graded quite a few roads, and we do need a lot more road base and stuff to make them perfect, but there's a few spots that are still bad and we're still working on. So, that's where I'm at on the roads. The equipment status, all the equipment is good. Our Duramax keeps breaking. About once a month it seems like, isn't it, David?
Seems like it, to the tune of about $4,000 a shot.
Yeah, about every time it breaks, it's about $4,000. There's the front control arm has broke twice or 3 times.
We want tires.
The tire fell off of it and folded underneath the truck just because that control arm fell.
Who was driving it?
I was doing 2 miles an hour.
Good crap.
But
Just when I could.
I don't know where the board is at on that, if we keep putting money into that truck or if we buy a cheaper truck that is more in tune for dirt roads.
The issue.
I didn't want to be the guy to bring that up because.
Well, the issue is,
They have a turbo.
we've talked about it a lot, and the issue is that the one-ton truck's not made for dirt roads. Made for hauling big things down the highway. And it's causing all kinds of grief, so what they're suggesting is that we sell that truck and get something for them to send the samples and stuff with, like a
Toyota
Tacoma
or something.
Yeah.
Because we don't need to pull, if we need to pull something, we can get it up there.
I'm going through the same thing with my guys. They have these big, huge trucks,
And
and
they're
they're
all
paying
taking
$4,000 a pop, and all they do is commute to work with them. So, like, we're moving more towards, they're not using them up there to haul anything.
Well, I think, you know, that's the thing, how much money to start saving, just taking the test down to Cedar City with it, I'll say.
Well, and our other truck that we have up there is a 3/4 ton truck, so if we need to haul something, we still have that truck to use, but for doing stuff around the mountain and cruising down the Cedar to take water samples and stuff, I think a smaller truck is.
David, by the way, I think they need 4 new tires for their side-by-side. They're using it good.
We need that.
We do need tires and stuff like that.
That's been great, you know, not to have to drive a truck around everywhere.
Problem is, Tacoma is so short, you can't haul as much stuff as you think
Well,
you
you don't
can.
No, we can't, but we do have that other truck, and that's what we've been talking about, setting that other truck up as our, like, water line repair truck, and then the other truck to do all the other stuff with.
Plus, we got the trade on the dump truck, so we now have a dump truck,
We do have a dump truck, so that helps too.
one thing at a time.
You got a lot of moving stuff coming up.
Yeah, we got a few things we're gonna have to get from RDO, some maintenance stuff on our loaders and backhoe and stuff, just to get everything ready for winter.
How are the chains?
Chains right now, I think are good.
I got one broken one, but
Broken one.
I fix it, so.
Good.
You guys have CDL?
Yeah.
What?
CDL license, right?
Yeah.
So what are we thinking about on this proposal?
For the truck?
Yeah.
Selling the old one and picking up a new one?
So I haven't gotten any hard prices yet, but I've looked around a little bit, and like a year-old Tacoma, because they're $10,000 cheaper if you get them a year-old, 20,000 miles on them, is like 35 to 40 grand, and I think you could get 25 grand out of that
Yeah.
truck. I don't know what they do on a trade-in, and that's why I wanted to get some prices first, but I just wanted to get it to everyone's attention that truck's.
I think it makes sense, I would say, just for the next meeting, come to us with your research,
Yeah.
on what you can sell it for and what you can buy one for.
Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
We'll look into.
So we can make a motion.
Okay. And I think on that, I don't know if I got anything else.
Why truck versus maybe a bigger side-by-side?
Well, side-by-sides are great for come winter time,
Not in the winter.
or cruising to Cedar to take water samples, or we have to go up to Sandy to take samples sometimes.
So it's not just in the dirt.
Sandy, Utah?
Yeah.
Kidding?
Our nitrate tests.
Nitrate.
Stuff, have to go to Sandy.
You haven't even called me to take you to lunch. You hard workers.
I'm in and out of that damn city as fast as I
Oh,
can.
that big baby. It is awful. You don't even like the best things for it, do you? Okay? Rich,
From here or up there?
wherever you want.
All right.
Preferably up there, so you
Come
can
on.
speaker.
The microphone's got a light on for somebody, and you're the only one here. I can see it.
So last month we talked about go out and get approvals from all the HOAs to do roads. And I've got 306 of the 330, that would approve the, chasing that road grant.
And which means willing to pay,
Pardon me?
which means they'd be willing to pay for it too.
No, it's going for a grant,
I know.
willing to pay.
I'm just being myself, I'm jockeying here a little. Okay,
Yeah, and
how many
Right.
did, 300 what?
306,
Out of 330?
330. I would've got all of them, but I got busy and
That's
forgot
half
about
one
it.
day.
So, it's still a pretty good number.
That is great.
Out of overall. So with your permission, I'd like to start chasing and see what grants are available and
Mhm.
see what we can do. And like I say, I'm looking for the free stuff. I'm not looking for anybody to get stuck with another assessment.
Okay. We like free.
And from everything that I hear is not a lot's gonna happen between now and election day. So, but I think if they know that we're standing there in line waiting, would put us at an advantage, and that's why I keep asking, who knows business, who knows happens?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the other thing I want to talk about is having more meetings up on the mountain rather than down here, and just via what we did in August and the turnout we had versus what we normally have, and this would be considered a crowd right now.
I think that's a great idea.
And I think,
The same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it reflects, our community's there, not here.
exactly.
And you would get way more attendance, which I think is good for all of us.
I think they better understanding what's going
Yeah,
on.
I mean, we could use the handset up, no problem, anytime. I don't know what our, recording
It's
facility.
horrible. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to spend some money to get some type of a device that we can record, because I couldn't make heads nor tails. The recording on his computer, it was a nightmare trying to get minutes from that. And so I would say if you wanna do that,
What
we
we
need to
have to
prepare
invest,
for it.
what we have to have.
I don't know, I'll find out.
Okay.
What type of recorder do you have
I'll
now?
find out.
She's using that recorder that goes through this whole system.
Yeah, the whole system, the mics in and everything to it. So I know that, I have an idea, so I'll try to report on that next meeting to you, what that would take, okay?
But my suggestion would be they'd be summer meetings, so you guys that don't live up there would have to run up there in the winter time. And if it's, if it's an impact on you, maybe Shane can send you guys a shuttle bus.
Thank you, no.
But we'd spoke about this, and we
Yeah.
thought I'm pushing for 4, and, pick 4 in the summer, because you got more people up there too.
Yeah, you do.
And,
Especially these days.
The nice thing would be if it was around the annual meeting, so we have a bigger crowd and more people would be up there.
Because every month I get a bunch of people, are you going? Yeah, I'm going. Well, can you ask this, can you ask that?
Can I ask yourself?
Yeah, why, and I know if they're on the mountain.
Yeah, that's the irony of all of it, it's just like their work day they're doing today. They want us all there, and I can't be there, I gotta be here, I gotta be there with this too.
So,
Everybody does.
that's where I'm asking you guys to consider that.
We talked about it 3 weeks ago on the phone, that's a good idea. I told you you'd probably agree.
Yeah, I think it's weird to come down here. I'd rather stay up there.
Well, like you said, it's, those are where the people you're representing are.
Right.
And if they've got a gripe or whatever, I think getting that road fixed up will cut that crap down. Because what we saw in August were people complaining about the road.
Okay.
It was a lot better when we did it in your place, Shane, the one time.
Oh, that's what I say, we do it at the Skyline or Canyon side?
We did it at Canyon Side,
Yeah.
didn't we? Not this one, but when we did it there before, that was manageable. The recording was a lot better. We were able to, that was a lot more
I mean,
manageable.
what is this device guy? What is it like? $300 for this, but I might even be able to
Yeah.
spring for it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It shouldn't be that much.
I'll find out what it is. I mean, but I was able to record that on, we were able to record that on our phone and computer, and we
Okay.
had a lot better recording from there.
Yeah.
Because we were in that, it was just that the like every car that went by, the sound inside there was horrible. Like, it just wasn't a great setup to have, like, once a year, we'll get by, but if we're gonna do it regularly, that's really not a great setup for
We proceed
recording,
with that.
so, yeah.
Does it matter getting a sound canceling mic or noise canceling?
Yeah, I'll do a little bit of research into this device that I know they use for other meetings that they don't hold here, that they just got, and see how it's going and what it costs them, and
It's like a portable thing.
I think so,
It's
yeah.
a portable thing,
Yeah.
wherever you take it.
But I'll find out.
Elon Musk probably makes one. Right?
So on those meetings we do up in Mountain, we're just not gonna do the YouTube broadcasting anymore, or?
That was gonna be the next, can you do a wireless remote camera?
My issue is logging into all the
Yeah,
county stuff.
it's all set up through the county, you would not have access to do that up there.
Because there are cameras.
Yeah, I need to do it.
I'll ask Aaron, when I ask about this, I'll ask the IT guys, but I don't think that's set up to be done remotely at all, but I'll ask.
But we can't use Zoom then, right now.
We're not set up to do any of that, no.
But regardless, you'll be speaking to people that, you know.
Okay.
I mean,
That's it?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, well, so am I good to go for this grant that Chase is down?
What's that?
Am I good to go for the road grant?
Yeah, sure.
She said no.
When you said free, you can do anything you want. Okay, I'm easy, but I'm not free.
Oh, cheap?
Thank you, Chris. Okay, fire department, Jack, Ron?
I spoke with George the other day, and he says they had a successful, chip fest, and hamburgers, and really good turnout. One of the things he said is he'd like to see one or some of us attend those events. And again, it's hard, but, Jack, you wanna report on that, and anything else you had going on? He said they had great participation.
Yeah, it was, went well, got quite a bit cleaned up in the village and up on Grizzly Ridge. We just set a date for our annual morale building event for December the 20th. We have a little party for the fire department, it's well attended by everybody.
Out
in the
there?
department. We have it at the firehouse here
Sure,
in town.
okay.
And we do it annually, and it kind of builds morale in the department. And the department's in compliance with all their transparency and everything you have to do for the state. Everything's been going well, good turnout on our calls.
And on the ISO rating we got the things from last
It'll
meeting,
be,
I just got my yearly assessment for my insurance. Do I just call Callie or Carrie, or what do we do?
You get a certificate.
What?
There's a certificate you'll get.
Okay, all right.
Callie
Call-
and Callie have.
Kelly
Okay,
has it.
good.
I don't, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ask you a question like that, because you
Well,
don't have to do
yeah.
it, because you don't have to do it, but.
Maybe it's something could be put on the website too, so.
Yeah, I think it should be for sure.
Certificate, is it just one certificate?
Yeah.
That we could attend,
Yeah.
and Callie has it?
Or Lori.
It's a wonderful thing for a district.
Oh, Lori is, Lori Bushler, yeah.
Yeah.
So Lori.
You know what, I've got one in my office, I'll forward it to
Cool. Me too.
everybody.
Everybody.
That'd be awesome if you.
Yeah, why couldn't, I was gonna say, why couldn't we just send it out in the email too to everyone and just make them aware of it?
That's
and
the
then-
problem,
yeah.
everyone.
Yeah, I do, I don't know that I've got everyone, but I got a whole bunch of people, I send emails, when I email about the water, it goes to a lot of people, so I'd be happy to send that out to everybody in that email too, so, okay.
And the other one thing I want to say is, after Chip Fest, that party that they did have on Saturday, they had 60 people at that party.
6 people at the Chip Fest party. Amazing.
Which,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an annual event. But
Lori and Terry.
I was surprised to hear that number, that they had that many people. It was like a community day that,
Sounds like sport.
we'll expand on it next year.
Oh, shoot.
I, just have one, didn't want to say what I have to say. I would get behind and sponsor the community day if you stopped calling it Elk Meadows. Elk Meadows is a failed resort that hasn't been around in 20-something years at Eagle Point. So, like that,
Done.
you know, every time I see that, it's just, even the name of this board, it makes no sense that we call it that. Failed resort that was only around for 10 years and
Can we
it's
change
gone
the
for
name of our
23
resort?
years.
Or our board?
I think we should. I think we should.
Amend the charter.
Is there anything else, Jack?
I would too.
No, I think that's covered pretty well.
Okay,
Everything's going good in the department.
good.
We have a lot of help up there.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
I did have a
We
question.
know you do it behind the scenes more than we know.
So after the chip fest, there is some piles of stuff that wasn't able to get chipped and some bigger logs and stuff. And people want our help cleaning them up.
You can
I
bring it
just
to
got
mine.
an order to take it.
Yeah, you could bring it to our burn spot.
Okay, so I just load the dump truck up with
Yeah.
branches and stuff and bring them up to your dump spot.
You know where it is, right?
Yeah.
You ever have chips?
Make a bigger fire this year.
I love chips up there.
Tell us when it is, we'll come up and roast them
Yeah,
ourselves.
chips.
Yeah, if you got, you stand about 30 feet away from it.
Good, okay. Leo, water rights.
So we, have banking agreements, with water rights that, now been transferred to Beaver County, and Beaver County's purchased that property from that group, from Delta. And so we,
Did they take all the water that was banked with us?
No.
Okay.
Only the little bit he's about to tell you about, right?
this was just this little 15, acre feed, and it's not even high priority water, but they moved it up there in 1998 before they changed the rules, and so it's up there, it should be accessible to the county, but I just wanted to know, from the Puffer Lake Springs, will we be able to supply water to a camp, a series of campgrounds around Puffer Lake?
So, I kinda talked with Wade about that a little bit, and it really depends on what water usage they're looking for. I mean, if they're needing a minute amount, it's not gonna be a huge deal, because the campgrounds are all gonna be summertime use, when we have an abundance of water. And wintertime, when we don't have water, they'll be closed, so I don't see an issue with it, but I think we need to see more planning and see what they're actually planning on using.
Yeah, we have to finance that, but with some way they could hook into it somehow and.
Yeah, they'd probably have to put in a smaller surge tank right there by the puffer pump house, and then we would be able to pipe out of that and go all the way down to where they need. But they'd have to have a tank, because they couldn't come straight off our supply lines, or it would just be efficient for.
Well, Leo, aren't they talking about the south, because like someone else owns the main campground up there, so that's not where the water would go.
It's part of Puffer Lake that's privately owned, but then they own around it, and so I'm not sure how they would develop a campground.
The campground I think that they can develop is where the little lakes are, but by the time you piped, that would cost you a fortune. I think you would just look for a well or something down there.
There's a spring
Or a
over there.
spring, because they should develop their own water down there. It'd probably cost them a lot more to pipe it all the way, they have to go under the highway, all the way down that road. Even the road is almost a mile to get to those little lakes.
And then just to maintain it.
It's probably a 4-mile water run.
Really?
3-mile water run.
That's part of wanting to see the plans too, because if they are planning on just doing down there in that little lakes area, there is springs coming out all over down there that would
Yeah,
probably
there are.
cheaper.
That water comes right out of the damn wall. And it's gonna be, it's under
Puffer's
a little
leak,
ways.
Puffer's leak,
Yeah.
that waterfall back there.
Puffer's leak.
Yeah.
Like the swamp.
So there's the private owner that has the other, and he might wanna be, working something out with water too.
I think all of them, it depends where you are, but the Chornos piece and the new guy, my old piece, they're close enough that they probably would wanna work something out with the service district. Put up their own little storage tank and, yeah, where the hairpin turn is, and basically the whole, that whole like, the easternmost base of the canyon, that whole section there, that's below Lake Pekin. But then the county, all the way down by their little lakes, is probably gonna want their own water source right there.
I think it'd be stupid not to.
It'd be way, yeah, I mean, just a well's like $200,000, it'll be $2 million to run the water all the way from the spring elsewhere.
Well, it's a matter of where it's coming out of the ground, that's all it is.
Yeah, it depends on what they wanna develop and what they need and where it needs to be, because there's a lot of
So
questions.
they're talking about doing those two lower lakes first, is that kind of?
I don't know, I haven't talked directly with them, but they're gonna make it like Miners, you know, it's gonna be a nice public park with some camping and, you know, as much, you know, amenities as they can have. And the area where that makes the most sense is where those little lakes are, because that's what it was originally.
Oh, yeah.
And the other area is now privately owned, where everyone camps in the first place, so I don't know what's going to happen.
So the guy that bought the apartment is privately owned, does he own most of it around Upper Lake?
No, he owns only 73 acres. He owns what I used to call the best part of Upper Lake. You know, that whole meadow, when you go in that road, the whole meadow on the left.
Right,
Oh, that
yeah,
road that
yeah.
takes you up to Lake Beaver.
Does it get you all the way there? Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, it kind of gets you back into by our pump. The road goes to our
There's
pump.
like houses out there, but there's.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, that's all I have. Talk
Okay.
about.
got a question?
Yeah, Shay, the history you got on the mountain, are you gonna put that out publicly, or you?
Yeah, actually, I was joking the other day, it's like my PhD. I'm not ready, 'cause I'm going all the way to Wayne Caves, Henry Jones, I'm doing like the definitive history of Eagle Point. And it will be public, I mean, I don't see why I would like hold it back, but what we're planning to do with it visually is inside of the Canyon Side Lodge, we're gonna renovate it. And there'll be like a whole section, it's kind of like the rebirth of a ski area, but it'll show you like how it started, and it's like Conrad has this amazing, I just finished my interview with Conrad, it was done by, like, he doesn't hear well, so I submitted the questions, and he and his son answered the questions, and his wife was just as much part of it as he was.
Bart was telling me about it, so.
Yeah,
I
so
was
it's pretty,
curious
yeah,
about
pretty
it.
fascinating, but there'll be a whole homage to all the past of Eagle Point, Conrad and Amy and everybody else, you know, in the Canyon Side Lodge. At some point, I'm not sure it'll be ready for this season, but that's how.
Like a visitor center.
Yeah, exactly, like, kind of like if you've been to Sundance, they have that area where you walk through that gives the story, we need that story, so.
Very cool.
Perfect. Okay. General discussion? Anything you need to
I think that's my resort. I don't have, I mean, we're doing with the history of Eagle Point, we just talked about that. And we're renovating the upstairs of Canyon Side Lodge to be a gym and a yoga studio. It's not really for the general public, but it's for our lodging
Instead of
guests.
the Oregon room, is that what you're?
Yeah, whatever it used to. It's always been so many things. It's been probably my worst used, it's like the most valuable real estate on the mountain that we've used for it. But it'll be a gym, it'll be good for our, like, just being a resort.
What if you hold fast, can you get in?
There'll be, like, I mean, it's for our lodging guests, but we wouldn't, if an owner wants to get a yearly pass for $49, you know, some small amount of money, then I'm sure we would do that as well. But it's more for our guests than anything else. What's that?
We could all pay to come do yoga up there.
Yeah, there'll be yoga too, yeah.
That'd be cool.
You guys don't wanna see me do yoga.
I was just thinking about the vision, I was thinking, I'm not doing that.
Yoga session by the board.
Your back.
Yeah, we also do yoga before.
It's just like
Yeah.
when people wanna talk to you on FaceTime, ain't happening.
You gotta do a cold plunge up there and infrared.
That would be,
All sorts of
that's,
things you can
once
do.
there's a spa someday. We'll think the cold plunge, right?
Is Canyon Side the upper lodge?
Lower lodge. It'll be the upstairs of that, yeah.
So is the other one called the upper lodge?
Skyline Lodge,
Skyline.
yeah.
Okay.
We still call them both, but
I was gonna say, I'm on your
brand wise,
page,
there's Skyline and Canyon
up or
Lodge.
lower.
You guys, all right, go ahead.
Okay. Anything else?
No, no.
Okay. Anything else that needs to be brought before the board? Okay.
I just wanted to follow up last time, when we first were talking about Upper Lake becoming part of the county. We had talked about the stakeholder meeting for the purposes and uses and suggestions for improvements to make it more of a useful, resource for everyone. And I didn't know if that has gone anywhere yet, or.
I don't think so.
I think that's just something to take up with the county, they have their own, I don't even know if they use it, but we have nothing to do with it.
It just seems like this, since it's up there and there's many people from the SMD that are up there, that this would be a really good group for them to be reaching out to.
Well, I guess that the situation is that we now know who owns it, we now know we have a plan. I think we're just gonna have to follow along with them at this point, but there's no reason why we can't ask them, how long do you think it's gonna take them to come up with their plan?
Yeah.
That's the problem. And I'll ask Wade, but he probably won't answer me. But
It'll be a whole public process, Bill.
Yeah.
Just follow the.
It'll go to the county commission.
Yeah, and it won't, I don't think they're in a rush to do it.
No, I'm just saying, could find out, maybe we can go to the county commission meeting or two.
And the other opportunity that we have as a group is to solicit from people's HOA annual meetings, to have people, number one, learn about it if they haven't learned already, and also start developing ideas
Sure.
that they could share.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Anything else? Ron?
Make a motion that we adjourn.